Hip-hop has a history of violence. From Biggie and Tupac, Pop Smoke and King Von, countless talented artists have lost their lives to gun violence. This generation isn't taking any chances, and even though many artists are rich enough to afford professional bodyguards, many young rappers keep it on them, just in case they get caught without security. Here's a look at some of the most popular rappers who are ready for ops. King Von. Davon Daquan Bennett, better known as King Von, was a rapper from the south side of Chicago, Illinois. King Von was tragically murdered on November 6, 2020, outside a nightclub in Atlanta after a fight broke out between him and another up-and-coming artist, Quando Rondo. But even up until his death, King Von was ready for ops. Von grew up in the infamous Parkway Gardens houses on the south side of Chicago in an area known as O Block. O Block was made famous by Chicago drill rappers like Chief Keef and Lil Reese, who grew up in the housing complex along with Von. O Block is a stronghold of the Black Disciples, a major gang on Chicago's south side. Von's pops was locked up when the rapper was young and eventually killed by street violence. The rapper was allegedly a member of the Black Disciples. Von went through frequent legal troubles growing up. In an interview with DJ Small's Eyes, the rapper says that he didn't know what quite set him off, but one day he woke up and was bad as hell.
Don't nobody really know when they started being bad. That shit was really regular, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just woke up one day, I was bad as hell. I don't know what the fuck happened. I was just getting good A's and B's. I don't know what happened. I just woke up and I'm in trouble now.
What led to you being bad? Because if you were getting A's and B's and then...
That school, you see what I'm saying? School over here with the nice teaching and nice people all that. All right, so now I'm going off they from that. Since they nice and being, productive and all, I'm doing my work, I'm in school. But now I'm out of school with the people that ain't doing shit, but on the streets, all they know is being loud, mean, bad, selling drugs, doing this, doing that. So now I'm around them, and now I'm, my environment shit, I'm adapted to that shit.
So you chose to hang around that crowd?
Right, it's just like, it's easier to go on the block than it is to go to school.
The artist's first documented arrest was on November 21st, 2012, when he was booked in the Cook County Jail for unlawful possession of a firearm. The rapper ended up in even more trouble in 2014 after he was involved in a shooting that resulted in the death of several men outside a house party in the Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago. Von ended up getting into a shootout with the crew of Gangsta Disciples, the rival gang of the Black Disciples. One person was killed in the shooting and several were injured. Von and his associate, Big Mike, were both arrested and charged with 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. They sat in prison for almost 4 years, but Von eventually beat the charge and Big Mike took the fall, all because he originally snitched but refused to testify at the last minute. Check out our video on rappers that beat a murder case to learn more about the details of this incident. After being released from prison, it wasn't long before Von was back in trouble. He and his childhood friend, another famous rapper from Chicago, Lil Durk, were arrested in connection with the shooting in Atlanta in June 2019. According to authorities, 2 men allegedly shot and robbed a man outside the Varsity, a popular spot in Atlanta, on February 5th, 2019. Authorities claim that the rapper stole an expensive chain from him, as well as $30,000 and a vehicle.
He said his chain was snatched off his neck, and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
The victim, 23-year-old Alexander Weatherspoon, later died from injuries he sustained in the shootout. Durk and Von were charged with criminal intent to murder and criminal gang activity, among other charges.
On Friday, detectives from Atlanta and Chicago testified in the criminal case against rapper Lil Durk in Fulton County Court. They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Dirk Derek Banks, and his co-defendant Devontae Bennett were seen on camera involved in shooting Alexander Witherspoon, a person police say they knew.
The judge ruled in June of 2019 that there was enough evidence to proceed with the trial. Both artists had enough money to fight the case, and rumors have circulated that there may be enough evidence to beat the charge. This case is currently ongoing, and both rappers have yet to stand trial. But before they complete their case, Von was murdered outside of an Atlanta hookah lounge in November 2020. It isn't clear what caused the beef between Von and Rondo in the first place, but whatever it was, Von's willingness to confront his ops is what ultimately led to his tragic death. The next rapper ready for ops was tight with Von and also a BDE member. He caught the body of an op and now has to fight the case. Let's get into it. Lil Durk. Dirk Derek Banks, aka Lil Durk, is a rapper and singer from the south side of Chicago. Durk's father was arrested and sent to prison on a double life charge when the rapper was 7 months old, and growing up, he had to take a lot of responsibility to help provide for the family. The rapper has said that growing up, he often remembers going to sleep hungry because the family didn't have enough food. Durk started releasing his music to MySpace and YouTube when he was in high school and started to build a local buzz. But after becoming a father at 17, Durk had to drop out of high school and fully jump in the streets to provide for himself and his new family. He joined the Black Disciples, the gang Von was also a member of, and started getting in trouble with the law not soon after. In 2011, He was arrested on weapons charges and sentenced to 3 months in jail. He was arrested again on June 15, 2013, after he allegedly threw a loaded .40 caliber handgun into his own car as police approached him on South Green Street in Chicago. Because he was a felon, he wasn't allowed to have the weapon and was held on a $100,000 bond. However, Durk was released after several witnesses testified in court that Durk was innocent, including one witness who admitted that the gun was his. There was another incident that occurred in September 2015. During a concert at the Theater of Living Arts in Philadelphia, the shootout left a 25-year-old victim dead and Durk's tour bus riddled with bullets. Although Durk was not arrested or questioned in connection with the shooting, authorities claimed that the suspected shooter was wearing an OTF t-shirt and got away in a limousine. OTF is short for Only the Family, Durk's brand and record label. Police later arrested a 28-year-old named Tylee Wilbur for the shooting. Durk was performing at the same time, and it's not clear whether his team was involved, but he did take to Instagram to say, "They said tour bus got shot up and one of us got shot. We all good. We on the way to next city, Pittsburgh, we on the way." He was arrested again in 2016 on felony gun charges and violating probation, but these charges were later dropped. Durk managed to stay out of trouble for a while until he and Von were arrested in June 2019 for the shooting outside the Varsity in Atlanta. Lil Durk turned himself in to authorities and was later released on a $250,000 bond. The case has not yet gone to court. However, the judge did find probable cause to proceed with the trial. The rapper and his co-defendant, King Von, were charged with criminal attempts to commit murder, aggravated assault, participation in gang activity, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Authorities will likely try to paint Durk and the now deceased Von as cold-hearted gangbangers with no regard for life. However, details about the case have emerged since the rapper's arrest that suggest he may have a decent chance at beating the case. Authorities claim to have surveillance footage from outside the Varsity showing Durk firing a weapon, but allegedly, a witness has come forward and claimed that she was talking to Durk and Von at the time of the shooting and that Durk grabbed his weapon after shots had already been fired. Apparently, the footage only shows Durk holding a weapon, but doesn't show him firing the shot that killed the victim. This means his defense team has a decent amount of evidence to prove Durk was not the aggressor in the situation and that it was a case of self-defense, not robbery and cold-blooded murder. So far, this is purely internet speculation and the case is yet to go to trial. Whether or not the witness will testify and the evidence will stand up in court is yet to be seen. But Durk does have the money to hire a solid team of lawyers, so it wouldn't be surprising if he beats the charge. It may be hard to avoid the gun possession charge if the cops have him on camera holding a gun, but he can likely get that pled down on probation or another lesser sentence if he can beat the murder rap. Unfortunately, King Von didn't live long enough to be acquitted. Hopefully, Durk can carry on his legacy as a free man, but Lil Durk isn't the only rapper to face major gun charges. This next affiliated rapper is ready for any ops, but currently facing some heat. Here's the story. YG.
Bullet holes riddle this LA County Sheriff's Department patrol car, some from an assault rifle fired at the deputies inside, some from the deputies themselves returning fire. The pursuit and shootout happened around 11:20 last night, starting in Compton, where the deputies tried to pull over a black Cadillac Escalade for reckless driving. That SUV registered to Keenan Jackson, best known as rapper YG.
Keenan Daquan Jackson, better known as YG, is a rapper and actor from Compton, California. YG grew up in the gritty streets of LA, and his father went to jail when he was young for tax fraud. He joined the West Side Treetop Pyrus at 16 and started selling drugs and committing robberies to support himself and finance his music career. He describes incidents when he was first coming up, where he would get in shootouts at shows with rival gang members, and in 2012, police had to shut down his music video shoot for the track I'm a Thug after shots were fired. In 2015, YG was shot at a music studio in Studio City, California. The details of the incident are still uncertain, but YG sustained 3 injuries to the hip.
A well-known rapper is recovering this afternoon after being shot several times at a recording studio in Studio City. Police say it happened just before 2 a.m. in the 3400 block of Cahuenga Boulevard.
But when police arrived at the scene, they couldn't find a victim or a suspect. However, they did find some blood and shell casings. The manager for rapper YG confirms the 25-year-old Compton native as shot 3 times. His manager says the wounds are not life-threatening. Rolling Stone magazine reports that a friend drove YG to the hospital after a shooting, and there are no suspects in custody so far.
He claims that some unknown dudes showed up at the studio where he was recording his album, and a shootout ended up going down. Check out our video on Rappers Caught Lacking for more information about this particular incident. YG was not cooperative with police, and the shooters were never caught. In an episode of The Therapist on Noisy, he claims that the incident gave him paranoia and made him question everyone around him. Ever since, YG has been ready for ops. On July 3rd, 2019, There was a shootout in Compton that left an innocent bystander dead. Police tried to pull over a black SUV for reckless driving, but someone in the vehicle began to open fire at the police and a high-speed pursuit began. The shooter eventually ditched the car in Inglewood and escaped on foot. The suspect was later arrested and taken into custody. After inspecting the vehicle, police found out it was registered to none other than Keenan Jackson, aka YG. It was also discovered that in the shootout, an innocent bystander on the vehicle dove for cover and was hit by bullets being fired between police and the vehicle. It has not been revealed whether YG was in the car at the time of the shooting or if he was involved in any way.
All right, take a look at this video from July. That's when the sheriff's department searched YG's home. It's related to a pursuit and deadly shootout. A man was killed during that shootout and a deputy was injured. The suspects were in an SUV registered to YG, and he denied that he knew anything about the crime.
He was not arrested for this incident. However, he was arrested on January 24, 2020 for robbery charges.
It is breaking news right now at noon. Rapper YG has been arrested. Overnight, LA County Sheriff's deputies served a search warrant at his home in Chatsworth. It's connected to a robbery case.
So it seems like YG has his fair share of legal problems ahead of him. It's not clear whether the two charges are related. However, the SUV incident may have led investigators to try to pinch YG for something if they didn't have enough evidence to arrest him for the shootout. Only time will tell if YG will beat the charge or end up doing time. Either way, he's ready for ops, whether it's the police or rival gang members.